Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this mini lesson, Steven's going to be teaching you an original tune that he wrote, which is called The River Song. Now, why is it called that? Well, it was inspired by a peaceful day at the river. Now, I got a chance to play through this entire piece, and I think it's going to be best suited for the advanced player for a few reasons why. The first reason is that it has you jumping up and down the fretboard. You're going from open strings all the way up to the 14th fret. So you've got quite a bit of movement going up and back down the neck with this piece. Secondly, techniques. This song has you doing pull-offs, it's got you doing slides, and those are a little bit trickier, more advanced techniques to do. And third is that some of the rhythms are going to be syncopated. So that's always a little bit tricky when we have to play on the offbeats. Now, with that in mind, let's take a step back. Let's talk about this lesson. So in this video, Steven's going to be teaching you how to play the entire piece. But if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, do a search for the song's name. Or you can even search for ML31, that is the lesson number for this lesson. Now also on that page will be the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a great feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you want, just a great asset in learning this piece that much easier. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Steven to teach you how to play this. Don't forget to grab the low G ukulele, and I'll catch you at the end of the video.
Hey guys, Steven here, and today we're going to be learning the river song. So our right hand technique, we're going to be using our thumb to pluck the 4th and 3rd string, and then we're going to be using our index finger to pluck the 2nd string, and our middle finger to pluck the 1st string. So here's measures 1 and 2. So we're going to start with the open 4th string. Then we're going to play the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and then we're going to slide to the 7th fret. Then we're going to play the 5th fret on the 1st string. Then we're going to go back to the 7th fret on the 2nd string. Then we're going to jump up to the 9th fret on the 1st string. Then we're going to play the 10th fret on the 2nd string and the 10th fret on the 1st string. And then for this last little part, we're going to play the 12th fret on the 1st string, and then we're going to pull off to the 10th fret. So go ahead and have your finger ready on the 10th fret of the 1st string so that you can play your 12th fret with your pinky, and then pull off to that ring finger on the 10th fret. And then we'll play the 9th fret on the 1st string, and the 10th fret on the 2nd string. And the rhythm's a little bit tricky on this, so I'm going to count while I play it so you can hear where the rhythm hits are. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and. So let's play that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's measures 3 and 4. So for this, we're going to play the open 3rd string, then we're going to play the 8th fret on the 2nd string, then the 7th fret on the 1st string, back to the 8th fret on the 2nd string, then we're going to go to the 9th fret on the 1st string, then we're going to go back to the 8th fret on the 2nd string, then the open 3rd string, and then we're going to play the 10th fret on the 1st string with our pinky. Then we're going to play the 9th fret on the 1st string, the 7th fret on the 1st string, and then we've got this cool little thing at the end. So that's going to be the 7th fret on the 2nd string with the 10th fret on the 1st string. Then we're going to play the 8th fret on the 2nd string with the 12th fret on the 1st string, and we're going to pluck both those at the same time. And and we're going to slide those up 2 frets. So we end up on the 10th fret on the second string and the 12th fret on the first string. The hardest part of that slide is keeping the pressure even. So you just have to kind of like find a balance between your hands so you're pushing down equally with the pointer finger and the pinky while you're sliding those 2 notes up. And I'm muting the other strings right now so you can hear it a little bit better. But they really ring out a little bit while we're playing this. Okay, so the rhythm hits for this. Measure 3 is just going to be straight 8th notes all the way through. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we have a really syncopated measure on measure 4, where basically we're playing upbeats all the way through the measure until beat 4. So this is going to sound like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let me play it all together with counting so you can hear that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's play this together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So measures 5 and 6 are exactly the same as measures 1 and 2. So we'll skip over that for now and we'll go right to measures 7 and 8. Measures 7 and 8 sound like this. So in measure 7, we're going to play the open 3rd string, the 8th fret on the 2nd string, and the 7th fret on the 1st string. And I'm using my middle finger to play the 8th fret on the 2nd string, and my pointer finger, my index finger, to play the 7th fret on the 1st string. So once again, to recap, that's the open 3rd string, 8th fret on the 2nd string, 7th fret on the 1st string, then back to the 8th fret on the 2nd string, back to the open 3rd string, back to the 8th fret on the 2nd string, back to the 7th fret on the 1st string, back to the 8th fret on the 2nd string, and of course we're going to let all those ring out when we're actually playing it. And then for measure 8, we're going to slide our hand down, so now we're using our ring finger to play the 7th fret on the 2nd string and our index finger to play the 5th fret on the 1st string. And it's going to be the same finger picking pattern, so open 3rd string, 7th fret on the 2nd string, 5th fret on the 1st string, back to the 7th fret on the 2nd string, back to the open 3rd string. Then we're going to slide these 2 down. We don't actually have to slide. We're going to shift them down to the 5th fret on the 2nd string is our ring finger note, and the 3rd fret on the 1st string is our index finger note. And we're going to do that same finger picking pattern where we're doing the 3rd string, then the 2nd string, then the 1st string, then back to the 2nd string while holding down that chord shape. So the rhythm hits for these 2 measures are very easy. This is just going to be straight 8th notes all the way through. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So very evenly spaced, steady notes. So let's just go ahead and play this one together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this point, we go back to the beginning of the piece. The repeat takes us all the way back, and we're just going to play measures 1, 2, 3, and 4 exactly like they were the first time. Let's just play through those as a recap. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this now takes us to measure 9, and this is the second ending. And this is very similar to measures 1 and 2 with just a slight difference. So we're going to start with the open 4th string. Then we're going to play the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and we're going to slide into the 7th fret. Then we're going to play the 5th fret on the 1st string, then the 7th fret on the 2nd string. Then we're going to shift up to the 9th fret on the 1st string, and And notice I moved my pointer finger, my index finger, all the way to there. Then we're going to play the 10th fret on the second string. Then we're going to go to the 12th fret on the first string. Then the 10th fret, and that's still on the first string. Now we're going to play the 10th fret on the second string. And the rhythm on this one's a little bit syncopated, so I'm just going to count while I play it so you can hear how it lines up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's play that together a little bit faster than that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's measures 11 and 12. So as you can already tell, this is just straight eighth notes, so that part's going to be really easy. And then our right hand is just going to be doing the same pattern as the first 4 notes of this passage, all the way through it. So then we just need to know our chord shapes. For the C chord, we're going to play the 8th fret on the second string with our middle finger, and the 7th fret on the first string with our pointer finger. And basically we're going to hold both of those down and let these notes ring out as we're playing. We're going to play the open third string, the 8th fret on the second string, the 7th fret on the first string, back to the 8th fret on the second string, back to the open third string, back to the 8th fret on the second string, back to the 7th fret on the first string, and then back to that 8th fret on the second string. Now we're going to shift down our chord shape for the B minor over C. We're going to be playing an open third string. Then we're going to be pushing down the 7th fret on the second string with our ring finger. Then we go to the 5th fret on the first string with our index finger. Then back to that second string note, back to the open third string. We're going to stay here this time, go back to the 7th fret on the second string, back to the 5th fret on the first string, and back to the 7th fret on the second string. So once again, those rhythm hits are just eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's play that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's measures 13 and 14. So first we're going to play the 2nd fret on the 4th string, then the open 3rd string, the open 2nd string, and the 2nd fret on the 1st string. Then we're going to play the open 3rd string, the open 1st string, the open 3rd string again, and the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. And then for measure 14, we're going to bar the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, 2nd string, and 1st string. And we're going to pluck the 3rd string while holding those down, then the 2nd string, then the 3rd string again, and then the 1st string again. Okay, then now we're going to put our middle finger down on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, but first we're going to play the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, then that 3rd fret on the 1st string, then the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and the 5th fret on the 1st string. At the end, we're going to use our pinky for that note. So the rhythm hits for these two measures are just straight eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's play measures 13 and 14 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we just have measures 15, 16, and 17 to go. They sound like this. So for measure 15, we're going to play the open 4th string, then the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, then we're going to play the 5th fret on the 3rd string and slide into the 7th fret, then we're going to play the 5th fret on the 1st string, then the 7th fret on the 2nd string, Then we're going to slide basically from the 5th fret of the 1st string into the 9th fret. But right when we hit it, we start the slide. Then we end up on the 9th fret of the 1st string. Then we're going to play the 10th fret on the 2nd string, the 10th fret on the 1st string, back to the 10th fret on the 2nd string, to the 12th fret on the 1st string, back to the 10th fret on the 2nd string. And then we have this chord at the end. So for this version of the G chord at the end, we're going to play the open 4th string with the 11th fret on the 3rd string with our middle finger, the 10th fret on the 2nd string with our index finger, and our pinky is getting the 14th fret on the 1st string. And what I'm doing to play this is I'm using one finger per string. My thumb is getting the 4th string, my index finger is getting the 3rd, my middle finger is getting the 2nd string, and my ring finger is getting the 1st string. And I'm just kind of rolling my hand. So just kind of plucking each string in order, but kind of as one motion. If you don't want to do that, you can always use your thumb and just strum down. Gets kind of the same effect. So the rhythm hits on these measures, it's mostly straight 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and then we hold that note out for 3 and 4 and, or really as long as you want, because that note has a fermata on it, and that gives us time to reset our hand for this last chord, and then you just hit that chord and hold it out. So let's play measures 15, 16, and 17 together. Really quick, there is a ritardando on measures 15 and 16, so you're going to be gradually slowing down through this. So keep that in mind as we're doing this play along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright guys, that's it. I'll see you on the next lesson.
Alright guys, so this mini lesson was a lot of fun. This is a short but sweet piece. It's only 17 bars in length, but a great one for the advanced player for those few reasons we mentioned earlier, that you're navigating the entire fretboard, you've got some tricky techniques that you're doing like pull-offs, the slides, and of course a little bit of syncopation thrown in the mix as well. So I do want to give you a friendly reminder that if you did want to get the tabs to print off and keep for your records, that was available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, do a search for ML31. That was the lesson number for this lesson. And don't forget too that on that page was that really cool interactive on-screen tab here. So you can literally hit play, watch this tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, slow it down, loop sections, all that fun jazz. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed learning this, and we'll catch you in the next lesson. Take care.